Now I would like to call Stefan Weigand. He is the CEO of Act Agile.
Thank you very much for invitation, and it's really great to be here for A&E and present something. I use the Mind Manager presentation because I think it's better to have a visualization as a one-pager. And I want to shortly introduce myself. So myself is Stefan Weigand. I'm the CEO from www.actagile.de. So we are supporting companies in Europe, especially in Germany, on their way for an agile transformation and on the way for a complete company transformation. And my goals today are to present the holistic overview for roles for complete agile transformation. It's really important that the user should know the complexity of holistic company transformation based on the roles, realizing that all models have to work together and bring all issues and areas together. So if you have a gear, you need to have ensure that everything is fixed together and work together in the same way. And no department can exist without the other. And like we had heard before, that the communication is the key. And especially if you go remote, it's really important to have a clear communication. And so with my team, it's also really important to have a clear communication. And it's not difficult, it's just a topic of a clear structure. And based on the structure, I will explain it to you in the next couple of minutes, how to ensure a clear structure. And my value is it's always now, and now is the time to act. What can we improve now to improve the company in the future? And my structure is a clear communication. I create this presentation based on this one pager because a lot of people are visual learn types or visual learners more than auditive or kinesthetic. And that's why in my company, we are using this presentation method to have everything in one page. And the aim is that you have an holistic overview of the topics of agile transformation, and that you realize that the modules are going and work together, and that it is really simple and easy. And my company is facing, or it's answering a lot of questions, and you are be able to get this presentation as HTML5 document. So it is an interactive process map. You can click through this process and through this map after the presentation. For me, it's important to explain you today these agile remote roles during your company's transformation. And I want to explain it based on the history of SAFe. It's just role-based, and I want to explain you that the SAFe model is built based on the view of the software development, and it's just based on the roles. So this is an old picture from 2008. I just want to show you the picture based on the roles. So the SAFe model is started with really less roles, and you have a few swim lanes and you have deliverables. And based on the history of SAFe, we have the model 2.5. We have more roles and more redundancy, not redundancies, but more connections. And if you have some hardware aspects, or if you have some mechanical aspects, and you are coming from these software roles, it's really necessary to structurize your roles. And here you can see you have DevOps and a lot of more roles also in the version of SAFe 3.0. SAFe 4.5, you have tons of roles. And in the SAFe version 5, you see that here they tried to structure it more and structure it better. And you say you need to have a continuous learning structure, a lean portfolio management, epic owners, but you need to manage a lot of roles. And you not need to have the SAFe concept, but in all of the concepts, if you are growing really fast, my experience is that you need to have clear and structured roles. And especially if you want to go a remote way, it's really easy and it's really simple to structure the roles. And how do I structure the roles and the levels? This is the next slide, which I want to present to you. So for me, it's really interesting and really important to have flat structure, more holistic structure. And at the end of the day, you need to think about these 5 levels, this as a basic level. So you need to decide in which direction the company should go and during which time frame the company should go in which direction. Then we start with the tailoring. You're tailoring your customers. You need your target customer group. You need to know your target customer group, and you need to adapt your products based on your customers' needs. And it's really important if you start with the tailoring and with product tailoring, with branching, with merging, with the complete configuration management for your products, to know that you need tailored processes and tailored tools. And especially if you go the remote way, it's more important to have clear structure about your tools and about your processes. And it's equal in which agile process you are working. We made a big benefit as more as we go the remote way to structure the tools, to explain the users and our employees which tools are necessary, which tools are used for which reasons, with which tools you can adapt, you can improve yourself, you can use for the company, which tools are allowed. And it's really important to speak about licenses and license management here. And this is a big issue in a lot of companies, which we are advising at the moment, that they don't having clear tools and process landscape. And so they have a lot of problems to go this remote way. And also the knowledge about to have the employee and split the employee and give the employee structured roles. It's also really a big problem if you go the remote way. And for here, we did a lot of investigation, and my best and most informative experience here is to go the Fibonacci way. I don't know if you know the Fibonacci numbers, but it's simple, easy. You can say 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So you multiply the number before with the second number, and you go the way on the Fibonacci way. Why is this important? And this is a really interesting consideration, because if you create roles, it is really important to organize your roles and organize a harmonious and a self-organizing system. And if you see you have a design and a development, or if you are mechanical constructor, every time you avoid overdetermined systems. So it means, for example, you have a proton, a neutron, and an electron in an atom, and this is also a self-organizing system. So we need self-organized roles, and to organize a role or to implement a role which is organized by the employees, it's important to duplicate the role by 3, because you have people which are in holiday or which are in vacation or which are on business trip. Maybe somebody is ill, one people is leaving your company, and it's really important to from based on based of the knowledge management side, and to prevent your company that you will have the knowledge which you build up in your company, and not that the people are taking out the knowledge and you don't have key knowledge person in your company, to split the role by 3 and organize your roles that you have at least 3 roles in your company. And this is the basic information what I want to explain today, that it's really important to consider clearly the roles and strictly go this way. Yeah? Which roles you need for your tools, which roles you need for your process landscape, for your products, and define the sense for everybody for the company. I will come later to this point, but this is really important and is my biggest advantage, and the biggest support which I can give to the companies at the moment. Why is the Fibonacci for episode really interesting? I put here a lot of interesting pictures. So avoid overdetermined systems. It will be used in the interference theory, in organizational theories. Also, the sunflower is having the Fibonacci row. And it's really interesting that the Fibonacci row is standing for a constant and steady growth and a wealthy growth. So if you not develop your roles and your company according to the Fibonacci row, you have like a bacteriumism grow, and it is a self-destroying system often. Yeah. So why we don't use the nature as a big advisor for our company? Okay. Now we have organized roles, and we need to define, okay, who is organizing the bottleneck management between your roles? And this is really important to think about it if you go remote, how you can manage bottleneck management. And you need persons who are doing the bottleneck management, who are doing this. And also, if you have bigger companies or if you have bigger silos or if you have single departments, it's really important to have this silo communication between each other and to grow steadily. And if you keep this picture in your back mind, you have won a lot of things, because it is really, really important to think in these categories if you want to develop your company into the future. And in the future, it's also important to think in this Fibonacci role. And my experience is I am a big fan of Simon Sinek. I don't know if you know him. So as more as important you go the remote way and has the need to have employees which are working at home, you need to define the why for your employees, why they are working in this circle, what they need to do, why they are doing it, and what is the great vision behind. So what is the great vision behind the company? As more you avoid if you have feature-based system development, or if you have targets and milestones, and if you have a clear communication, as more as you lose the contact to the people, if the people are working from at home, it's not simply easy to go to each other's desk or have a coffee, which we heard before. And it's really important that this great vision, this for the human family, or I'm a big fan of Dr. Daniele Ganser or of Mother Teresa, they say, okay, we need to have this positive vision for the company to encourage the employees to work for the company. And often a lot of people are laughing about this big vision and this, big company vision, because everything is in the now or in the short future. But for me, it's really important to think about it and manifest the sense for your company, especially in the remote way, that you have a team which is organized and the portfolio is organized. And to go this way, you need a clear portfolio management, as well as for your products, as for the tools, as for strategic employee and role development. So a lot of people are just having a portfolio management which is based on products, and they are forget that you need to develop your tools and your processes and your employees as well as your roles also based on a portfolio. Because if you go the remote way and you don't know which tools are necessary, which teaching strategies you need in the remote area for your employees, how they are struggling. Are they struggling with some tools? If you don't have a clear strategy, how you develop the soft facts or the soft company benefits beside of the products, you will have a big problems. And this is also really important for me to have this portfolio transparent for the employees. And in the now, we are printing the money. Here we are creating, and here it's really important to set this use SWOT analysis for a clear surface. What are the strengths? Use the unique selling propositions to explain the why to our employees, because the employees are the important person at the moment and in the remote way. And if you have one employee which is not fully with your company, or which is not in your move, in your mindset, or in the mindset of the company, it can harm the company a lot. And if their structure is not clearly defined, you have a lot of job stoppers, and you will have a big, yeah, topic to struggle with the clear self-organization structure which is necessary in the remote way. And here, for me, it's also really important to use methods of supervision. I call it to clean the basement, clean up the basement, clean up the past, why something isn't functioning well, how we can change it, how we can improve the situation for us together to print more money, to get this major perspective. I haven't found any great picture here in English, but I think this is a really good explanation. So a lot of people which are going the remote way, they need to struggle, or they need to clarify the past, clarify problems, communication problems, and build up a great future. And this is everything what I want to explain to you. And remember on this picture, I think this is really important for build up a good remote team. And yeah, thank you very much. And I'm waiting for your questions.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for your session. So, any questions for the Stephen? So, Lalita is asking, any tips for reviving the induction and onboarding mechanism, given this remote culture is here to stay?
It's a really good question. And if you have a clear role description, which employee it is necessary, then it's really easy to do the onboarding way, because it's another way of job introduction if you are searching for roles. So I try to explain to my customers that it is necessary to not have description or job description which is based on you are searching an employee. It's better to have a description which is based, you are searching for some roles or for some person which is able to fulfill some roles. And this is a big benefit, because you can do this
Okay.
complete onboarding process much easier.
So, Stephen, there's another question that says ISO 9001 and documentation became popular due to outsourcing. Do you see need for more documentation with remote individuals?
This is a good question. I think as more as you document, as more or you can make redundancies, or you can make mistakes. And if the structure of the role-based system engineering or of these roles are clear, and if you have a clear process, a basic process, how you are managing your company, I also use Mind Manager, because you can use the Mind Manager in a really deep way. And I love it to do swim lanes and end-to-end process development for important processes. And if you have this, you can avoid a lot of redundancies in your documentation, because the people are knowing in which tool I need to document what content for which person, and which is in the row in front of me and who is in the row next to me. And here we had a lot of benefits in a clear documentation structure. And this is the best benefit I can give to you here. Yeah, and you will have a lot of avoidance of redundancies if you have this structure. You just need to use this level of strategic company and role development which I gave to you, and consider or describe it in detail, and then you have a lot of time benefits or the people or the companies which we are giving this as an advice and give consulting. And also in the universities, I teach at the university here, and they have a big benefit for it.
So one more question from Abhishek. How much organizations remodel their entire KPI or KRA for an agile organization, as mostly this is left out of transitions or transformations, considering remote scenarios?
I think if you are KPI driven, it's really important to have clear targets and clear milestones and also clear deliverables. And here it's also really important to have a good bottleneck management. And if you not know the bottlenecks of your roles, it's really critical to keep the targets. And we have a lot of companies, they haven't thought about the structure actually, and we see that they are struggling, especially based on the corona issue at the moment. They are struggling really well, and we see that all structures which is based on operative key result analysis, if you have a structured operative key result analysis and a structured way how to organize your KPIs and break down the KPIs on product on projects which are improving the tools and the process landscape and the complete communication surface. These companies are don't having these kind of huge problems during the corona crisis because they are much more agile and more faster.
Okay, so next question is from Rohit. How do you balance the cross-functional aspect with multitasking nature required in projects for unique applications?
We decide if we need the role really urgently and if this role should be duplicated by 3 with a risk matrix or with during our retros, and we say, okay, this role is really urgent and this role should be duplicated. And sure, we have roles which are available once or twice in the company, but these roles are not mandatory. And it's also really important to split between these roles, else you have a big role landscape and you cannot control it. So it's just the important roles which are the bottlenecks. And we are planning this. So during our retros, during our communication with our employees, we are every time, so I developed a special question method. It's called impediment deep dive analysis, where we exactly focusing on these basic questions. Should the roles are duplicated? Are you struggling? Do you need a management decision? Is it based on a tool? Is it an organizational topic? And we are using this retro in our agile methodology to ask exactly these questions. And if you do a retro in a 2 bi-weekly cyclism and you are not able to improve your processes, your tools, or your roles also in this time, or at least in 3 weeks or in 4 weeks to improve something for the employees will lose trust in the agile principle. And so we started to figure out which is necessary, which is important for the employees, and ask exactly these questions in our retros.
Okay, so Priyank is asking where the role of people like agile coach goes in your model.
The role of the agile coach, you mean where it is implemented in the model?
Yes, I mean the role like agile coaches. Where did you fit the role agile coach in your model?
Um, the agile coach is one of the important person because he is detecting the team behavior. He is detecting, he is a part of the team, and he is one of the most important person for us as manager to get a feedback about the culture and about the yeah, intercultural, or about the feelings and the mood into a team. And so we focus on this topic, that the agile coach is the only person which is able to detect risks, detect if the person are not confident with something at home, remote, and he is the basic person who is discussing with the management, and will get involved if we need to adapt a new role, or if we need to change something from the IT or from the infrastructure. So we have here this impediment deep dive analysis, which will be done in the retro, and the agile coach is reporting this deep dive analysis constantly, and it's also be used as a lessons learned. So for knowledge management, for lessons learned. So basic on the information which you get from the retro, you will have several possibilities to use this findings, or we call it impediments because of the impediment deep dive analysis, but it's nothing else than a retro. And we need to use these impediments for the complete company. And this leads to strategic decisions. So I would say the agile coach is a really important person here.
Next question is from Sanjeev. How to get to know SWOT, that is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats, about the new team members recently onboarded to project?
This SWOT is basically can be seen as a business case, and can be seen of, or you mean, you mean new role? You mean if I have a new person and the person is getting into the company, how I can get this SWOT from the person themselves during the onboarding? Is this correct?
Yeah, basically how we get to know about it.
Okay, so this is really difficult, and here you need to have a good person which is working in the department for which is responsible for gathering or get new employees into the company. And here you need to get a good questionnaire, and you need to ask about more about the skills and more about the topics which which how the employee is confident with, what are the long-term goals for the employees, what are the strengths of an employee. You also can ask for hobbies. You also can ask for additional topics. So we also use analysis from Insights. I don't know if you know Insights. A professor of mine, an old professor from the University of Bamberg, he had a complete questionnaire how you can, we developed a special questionnaire from Insights, how to get this soft skill out of the employees into your company, into the company knowledge, and which is the best person for your team. For me, it's also really important that the new employee is knowing his team, is knowing his boss, is knowing his roles, because a good team structure, and it's better to have an employee who is not the best and excellent person. So team spirit and company behavior, the culture is really important to decide about our employees. So we never use the best employee, which is having the best grades. So we prefer to use the employee which is best motivated and who like to grow in the company with his teammates together.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. We'll take the remaining questions after the all the sessions get over. So we'll get back to the third session. Thank you, Stephen, for joining and presenting this session and knowledge. Thank you so much.